Hello, welcome to Module 3, Prevention. My hope is that by now you have a much better understanding and knowledge about eating disorders, and that you also know how very serious they are and how imperative it is to act fast. So you might also be wondering now, well, what do we do? We've got it, we know that it's dangerous, we know we have to take action, but who do we go to? Who do we ask for help? Do we get involved, or do we step right back and let the doctors take over? So I have some very strong beliefs about this. I really believe that the best people to help the child with the help of a therapist are the parents, because they know the child, they love the child, they're ready to do anything for the child, and they are in the firing line, if you like, because they're at home with her. A lot of people can't afford to send their children away for therapy, and even if they can, what happens is usually the child goes into therapy, gets better, gets her weight up rather, and then is sent home, and she then loses the weight she's gained and gets sent back to hospital, and this can go on repeatedly in a never-ending saga. So the Maudsley Hospital decided to depart from what was currently thought, that the child had to be taken out of her family and isolated and looked after purely by doctors and nurses. They contend that the people who are going to be there most often to look after her are the parents, are her family who love her. So that's all well and good, but you also have to put certain things in place. The parents have to find a therapist not to be the boss, but a therapist who can discuss what the options are, because the going does get very, very tough. The parents also have to learn how their child is thinking. And the third thing, which is really, really important, which kind of derives from how they're thinking, is to separate the child from the illness. Rather like in the olden days, people always told, if you're living with an alcoholic, do not try and talk to him or her while they are drunk, because you're talking to the illness. Well, in much the same way, here you're talking to anorexia. Anorexia is like a living, breathing entity. It's rather like a lodger who's taken up residence in your child's head, has taken over the commands, has literally almost taken over her brain. And as the illness progresses, the child's reasoning gets more and more biased and inaccurate, because the eating disorder is kind of guiding it and driving it. So the parents have to know this, and it's terribly important that they thoroughly take this on board and even give a name, like I give it the name of Alien or the Lodger, because it's going to help them very, very much when the going gets tough, because the children can get extremely violent. In the case of anorexics, another thing happens: they literally cannot see themselves the way they are. They can't see how ill they are. They actually don't believe they're ill. In the case of children who have bulimia and binge eating, that's not quite as severe, but here again you have the shame and the secrecy. So the parents have to tread very, very carefully. And it's so important, as I was saying, to find a good therapist. He does not take over, he is not the boss that the parents obey, but he's there supervising them, discussing them. They have long discussions each and every day as to what is happening. They have meetings. It's important too for the child to know this. You have to be really, really above board with her, even if it's kind of frightening because you're afraid that you might push her away. But in a funny sense, the child is terrified. She's obeying this voice, this kind of third person who's on board here, but she doesn't really want to do this. So it's lovely for her to feel this unconditional love, and it has to be unconditional love, and the parents need to have agreed before on a way to behave. They must not show the slightest disagreement in front of the child. One can't say, oh look, let's leave her now, she's had enough. and the other wants to insist on a point. You can't have a kind of one-upmanship. I'm the one who's doing the most therapy. You cannot be too strict either, because that means, in a sense, you're blaming the child and she's become the enemy. So again, remember this business of you are fighting the illness and you're in the trenches and it's a really nasty enemy, but you must stay firm. Another of the things that parents have to do is they have to set very strict schedules. They have to have meal times at the same time. They may have to adopt their work and their jobs, and actually quite often bosses are very, very understanding about this if they can kind of work around it. During meal times, no matter how much the child gets angry, threatens, screams, shouts, and they do, I've seen girls become really violent who actually hit their parents. You have to say, darling, we totally understand how really scary this is, but we want to find you. We want to get you out of that dark hole in which you are right now. We're here for you and we're not going to give up until we do. And that will eventually filter through to the child. You can also say, you are so undernourished, darling, at the moment, although we appreciate that you can't see it, that you are actually not thinking straight, but we still love you and we're not going to let go of you, and we're here in spite of it all, and today we want you to eat just this little bit, and please eat it. We're going to sit here with you, holding your hand, and if you eat it, you are not responsible towards the illness, because we are the ones making you do it. So the illness can get angry with us, not you. And very often this is how the child starts to eat a little bit more. Now I'm talking about cases which are usually quite a bit further along the road, but this is the kind of general principle. You have meals at a strict time, and you also say, look, sweetheart, if you don't eat it, there's going to be consequences, and we will enforce it, not because we don't love you, but because we hate this illness. If you can stand fast, hold on to this, and say what you mean and really follow through on it, it is quite amazing how fast things can begin to change. You have to also forbid things like exercise, excessive, obsessive weighing all the time, taking laxatives, binging, and you do that by keeping a lock on the bathroom. And I mean, these are extreme measures that you have to do because this is an extreme illness. Then you'll have a meeting every week with your therapist, or several times a week, and with the child too. I believe it is very, very essential not to keep anything secret, because if you do that, you break his or her trust. And while they might appear angry, they inside are so relieved, because they are just wanting you to come and fish them out of here and get them shot of this illness. So these are other things that you mustn't do, is go shopping with them, because they're going to be comparing the sizes and want to drop sizes. You have to monitor their friends. You have to stay with them as much as possible, but you especially have to stay with them at meal times. And just stay there until they have a little bit, and the next day they will have a little bit more. If they really don't, and the situation does become more extreme than the ones we're talking about here, you can follow through and say, look, sweetheart, if you don't do what we're asking you to do, you're going to have to go back to hospital. Now, usually that is enough in the very early stages. They do not want to do that. So what you have to arm yourself with is patience. Patience to keep on reminding yourself, and it does try, the patience of a saint, that you are not angry with your child, you are fighting an enemy, an illness, and it is an illness that's very different from most of the other psychiatric illnesses, in that you get the impression sometimes that it's almost got an intelligence of its own. It's listening to the conversations. You make 2 steps forward and then it knocks you back again, and you just have to keep on there. And it is one of the hardest things that parents ever have to do, but I really do know, because I've seen it again and again and again, that love and reprogramming is the way to go. As I've mentioned before, a lot of recent research is showing that there has been a kind of a glitch in the pleasure-reward pathways of your child's brain, especially with anorexia. She's come to believe what the illness is telling her, that what's good is bad and what's bad is good. When you get a little bit further along, you can tell her about this and show her and say, listen, when your weight has dropped so slowly, so low, you literally cannot reason properly. That's why, darling, you must eat. We want to get you up a little bit further so that you can take back the control. And when that happens, little by little, we will be able to give you more and more freedom and more responsibility. So these, in a sense, are all the things that you as parents have to do. If you're lucky enough to be a couple who gets on well, it's fantastic. But sometimes, human nature being what it is, one of you will feel you're being too harsh on your child. Another one might feel that they want to do better than you, and there's a kind of competition sets in. Also, you might lose your temper. But all this is normal. It's all normal as long as you keep on keeping on and putting all your disagreements completely aside, because the illness will see that as a loophole to slip through, and my goodness, it will do. So it's a very long journey you have in front of you, and my wish is for you is to find a therapist who can assist you along that journey. Again, not as the boss or the one who's telling you what to do and not keeping you informed, but really as a partner, because it is very tiring. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the tree, and you do absolutely need someone there to remain calm, to discuss things with you, to say, okay, that worked beautifully, this didn't work so well. So these are the ways. Once you've recognized it, you are intractable. You will not be swayed. You will not leave her. You will be there the whole time. And if you keep this up, I promise you, you can nip it in the bud. So that's essentially all I wanted to tell you about fighting an eating disorder, knowing about it, getting to know the way your child's brain is working so that you're not going to be surprised or thrown. I do hope this course has been of some use to you. I think I've said several times, but I'm going to say it one more time, I'd love it to be useful to school teachers so that they too know what they're looking at, because they play a very important role. What I didn't add here in this actual course is a few videos by several people I think have been invaluable. But I'm going to put them in the bibliography so that if you're interested, you can go and take a look at them and learn some more. The first of these people is Dr. Andrew Huberman. He has an incredible podcast and a YouTube channel where he just gives away the latest psychological and scientific findings. He himself is a neurologist and a neurobiologist, but he has a particularly fantastic YouTube episode on eating disorders where he will explain much more in depth than I've been able to here what actually happens in the brain. Another lady I would really love you to go and look up is someone called Carol Dweck, and she is very famous for talking about growth mindset and fixed mindset and neuroplasticity. And the reason I'd love you to go and take a look at her is when your child starts eating a little bit more and starts gaining a bit of weight and starts being able to step back and look at what the illness is doing and starts wanting to take back the reins, she needs hope. Now, what Carol Dweck is saying is you do not have a brain that is set in stone. You can put new habits on top of old habits and take back the power. You can swap a fixed mindset for a growth mindset, and this is very, very useful for you to know and for your child to know. So thank you very, very much for listening. I hope this has been useful. If you have any questions for me or would like to get in touch with me, I do give people sessions to evaluate what I think is happening to their child, and even accompany them along the route I've just been explaining, but you'll find all this below in my details. Thank you very, very much for listening. If you have more questions, if there's something I haven't spoken about and you'd like to know more of, please get in touch. You'll find my contact details again below, and I'm going to be doing more episodes like this on other things such as attention deficit, fixed mindset and growth mindset, and build up a whole little repertoire for parents to be able to use these methods to help themselves. Thank you very, very much, and goodbye.